Welcome and thank you so much for joining me, Alyssa Arundel, for our 2020 Chinese New Year horoscope overview, as well as a breakdown of our individual zodiac signs and the myth and legend behind Chinese New Year. If you would like to read your written horoscopes or discover in fact what zodiac of the Chinese calendar you are, please see the link down beneath this video in the description box, which will take you to Patrick's website so you can find out all of that information. I would also be very honoured if you gave this video a thumbs up, a like, and if you also subscribe to this channel for more astrological updates. So what is the legend behind the Chinese New Year? Well, according to the mythology of it, the goddess Niru created human beings, created the human species, and on her way back to the heavenly place noticed that there was a hole in the sky which was causing so much chaos on earth. There were destruction, volcanoes, eruptions, floods happening all over the place. And the heavenly emperor sent her back down to earth to figure out how they could rectify this problem. She spoke to the water god, who said that the only way that the human race could be saved, the only way the planet could be saved, was that if humans and animals worked together in harmony. The only problem was all of the animals had fled to the mountains in fear for their lives. One of the only animals that remained was the rat, and the water god didn't really trust the rat, thought it was a bit of a vermin creature, but Rat really wanted the responsibility of bringing the animals together. He was bit of a humanitarian, you might say. So Rat used his special senses to go off into the mountains to find all of the other animals. Whilst he was there, he convinced Tiger, king of the mountains, and all of the others to come down and to help the humans. And together they did, they saved the planet. Upon hearing this, the emperor in the heavenly place decided to give the animals a reward, that he would host an event, a race if you will, and the first 12 animals to reach the altar would become zodiac gods. The first animal to reach the altar out of all of the other animals would become supreme over all of them, and the very first zodiac god that ever existed. Rat knew that he didn't stand much of a chance in this race, and so he decided to hide behind Ox's horn. He really considered Ox was a very stable creature, had a lot of stamina, and thought that he would do quite well in the race. So in the morning the race begins, and just as the ox is about to get to the altar to become the winner, Rat jumps from his head and wins the race. The humans were outraged. They thought it wasn't fair that the rat should win because he was a trickster. He won through unfair means, so they thought. But the heavenly emperor decided that trickery was a kind of wisdom in itself, and decided that the rat would become the very first of all zodiac signs. So this is very special for us because not only are we moving into a new decade of 2020, but we're also moving into a new lunar zodiac calendar, with the rat being the very first animal. So this is very special, as that is a lot of new energy that comes with this new lunar cycle. The rat that we have for this new Chinese New Year is the yang metal rat. Yang metal is very much associated with boats, with ships, with submarines, and with stormy weathers. The rat itself is associated with rain, with water, with oceans. So what we have this year is a very watery year. In I Ching, water can often represent danger, so it's really important for us this year to be very clear with our intentions, very clear with our words, and how we act towards others. Metal also represents armour, so this being the year of the metal rat could mean that there are some power struggles, that we do find that we're butting heads with the establishment against the status quo. It's very much about earthly matters as well, so these storms and these changes in climate, although they're metaphorical to do with our own individual circumstances, they are also shining a light on things that are physically changing within the world. And so the humanitarian of the rat is going to be very much to do with climate change in a big way, and also how we work together to combat that. Last year we had the year of the pig, which was the end of the Chinese New Year cycle before we move back into the rat and start that 12-year cycle all over again. The pig was very much to do with nostalgia, sifting through emotions. We were very much a pig living in a rat race, okay, and this year we're very much rats living within a rat race. So this allows us to be a lot more authentic in the way we talk. We may find that we're all wanting to find a new confidence within ourselves, and new beginnings. Because the metal rat does represent waters as well, it's almost like a ship sailing into, new ventures. We may have to be a little patient before we get to our destination, but this is very much a year of fresh start. We do have some very notable months this year as well. So in the Chinese calendar, not only do we have an animal that rules the year, but we also have animals that rule each month. And there are a few animals this year that really stand out for us, I feel. From the 23rd of February to the 24th of March, we have the month of the hare. The hare is very much to do with home, with family, with property. So within that month, we're really going to be quite focused on how we can find that balance between our home lives and the things that we want to achieve. We may find that we want to beautify our homes in some way, or even move location. But it's not just about the home that we are physically living in, the building. It's also to do with the people that we associate with and the people around us. So we could see that some of our friendship circles shift and change, particularly within the month of the hare. Quite a maternal month as well, very much about nurturing and looking after family, our children, our partners, our parents, whoever that may be for that month. From the 24th of March to the 23rd of April, we have the month of the dragon. Now this is really exciting. Dragon and rat get on very, very well indeed. And so this month for us is going to be a lot about fun, creativity, play. We may find that we are sparked on to begin some new projects. Even writing could be quite a passion for some of us this month, but it could be to do with new relationships or adding a new spark to current ties that we're in, and really quite a playful feel to it. So that's something that we've all got to look forward to. This year also sees 13 new moons, which means that we have a leap year in terms of our Chinese zodiac calendar. Each animal usually rules 4 weeks, which is roughly a month, but this year we're going to have one animal that rules 8 weeks, and for this year that's going to be the snake. Snake is going to help us in our job matters, in our professional circumstances, but snake also asks us to look at the link we have between our need for solidarity, our need for space, but also our interactions with others. So it's very much about that work-play balance, and that is something that is going to be with all of us for those specific 8 weeks. But how it affects us on a more personal level will be down to which specific zodiac sign that we are within the Chinese calendar. So let's get into that and have a look at how that's going to affect us on a more personal level. Hello Arcs, and welcome to your specific overview for the year of 2020 in your Chinese horoscope. You are a very strong and stable character within the zodiac field. In fact, if it wasn't for rat, you would have won the race and become king of the zodiac signs, if you will. So this is going to be a year for you that is very important. Next year is going to be more so important because from February 2021, it is going to be the year of the ox. So you'll be really moving into your own space then. But that doesn't mean that this year is not important. In fact, you may find that you get some unusual demands put on you. Last year, the year of the pig, the year of the bull, probably will have been more socially charged for you. That's not so much the energy that is going on for you this year. Last year was more about networking, maybe finding new hobbies, meeting new people, but this is more about closing chapters. Because your year is coming up next year, you're going to be sifting through a lot of what has happened to you over the last 12 years, not just the last year, the last 12 years, your whole cycle, until your cycle starts again in February 2021, like we've said. So there's no need to be navel gazing this year, or sort of twiddling, a twiddling of the thumbs. It's more like, literally, it could be as physical as going through old photo albums and, you know, remembering times gone by and remembering things that you've been through, all the challenges, all the joys, all the hurts, all the achievements. Just really sifting through anything that has any withstanding ties, tying them all up before that new year can really begin for you. Luckily though, this is also a year for enhanced professional status. So it could potentially mean that you get a promotion, or in some area you're rewarded, you're kind of recognised for the hard work that you've put in. This is going to be, you know, really fulfilling for you, but I don't feel it's going to be something that overwhelms you too much. So the role could be something that you're already doing, you just get recognised for it, or something that you're already doing but you just get the pay you deserve for it. So it's not going to be something that totally overwhelms and that's too much to handle, too much to take on, because like we've said, this is a year of completion and tying up things. So starting something completely new and completely challenging, maybe best more to wait till to the end of this year potentially, but you do have luck within your professional field this year too. June and July can be particularly good for your work balance. This is when that double snake month finishes. So once that's finished, which will run from May to June, July, August time, particularly October and November, could see those promotions come in. So it might not be right at the beginning of this Chinese New Year. You might have to wait till more of the middle to see those financial or professional roles come into fruition, but there is a good chance that they will be there. Hello Tiger, and welcome to your 2020 Chinese New Year horoscope overview. What a year it was for you in the year of the pig and the boar. A lot of momentum was built up potentially last year, 2019. It was about putting all those structures in place, and I think there's something that's really been building now. Really luckily, that is going to continue with this year, with the year of the rat, and it's going to be potentially very lucrative in February to March time, which is this month of just before the month of the hare. This month of the hare for you as well, between February and March, could be very socially charged. So you're having networking meetings, going out with friends, discovering new hobbies. It's very much around a social circle, almost being, you know, you're the network king or queen of wherever you work or your home life, and all of these connections are happening for a reason. So it could be that you're going into some sort of business networking fair that later on in the year could lead to potential new jobs if that's what you're looking for, or connect you to the right people for a new project you're working on, for example. So that February, March time is going to be very important for making those connections. So saying no to things might not be the best sort of way to go about it. It might be more of an idea to be a yes man or woman for that month. This year for you, aside from the networking and the social side, is very much to do with family, home, and even property. And we have these 13 new moons this year, which means, like we've said in the overview, that we have this double snake. So instead of having the snake for 4 weeks, we have it for 8. And for you specifically, Tiger, that is very much connected with your home, your family, property. So it could be that you're thinking of renovating or moving home, but it could be that you're kind of torn between these networking events and the social life and these new friends that you've made, but also responsibilities to your parents, to your home, to your children. and for 8 weeks of this year, that's going to back to back as well, is going to be very evident. So trying to incorporate your own needs with the needs of others is going to be a theme that runs through the year. But if you can do that successfully, which I really believe that you can do in this year of the rat, because it's going to give you a boost of energy as well, I feel that you could have a really well-rounded life by the end of the year, getting everything in order, which for you, Tiger, is something that perhaps may not have been so much last year. It may have felt a little more scattered. This year, it's bringing all those pieces, tying them together for a more structured year. Still with that fun, still with that passion, but spending a bit more time at home as well. So I think that that is the main themes for you this year, Tiger. Welcome, Hare Rabbit, to your Chinese New Year 2020 overview. So last year for you, the year of the pig, may have brought in a bit more excitement than you're used to. And usually that rabbit energy likes a bit of excitement and then likes to move on from it and get back to business, get back to stability. But I don't really feel that there's any signs of that coming too soon for you, Rabbit, with the year of the rat. And I think it's something that you'll actually be quite open to. The hare and the rat are quite competitive, so there may be some power struggles, particularly around your work life. It's about sort of, you know, sticking your elbows out a bit more and really going for what you want, but in an assertive way and not in an aggressive way, especially, like we've said, in the workplace. You know, you want to be known for someone who is that, you know, powerhouse, and not someone who's sort of bulldozing over everybody else's feelings and emotions. So that competitiveness is there, but I think it's a real challenge that is going to feel really good to you. There's also going to be a real drive to achieve more, to learn more. A lot about education, but I don't feel it's going to be education just for the sake of learning. Not that there's anything wrong with that, Hare, but more that you're going to be learning things that you can implement straight away to achieve your goals. It's really, there's a huge push behind you to, and a thought of, there's a big world out there. I want to grab it with both hands and take all the opportunities that come my way. So this naturally quite home-loving energy that has been there, the pig kind of shook that up a little bit, and the rat is continuing to shake it up. There is some very good news as well between March and April, because this is the month of the dragon. Now, dragons are usually quite lucrative for hares, but particularly in the year of the rat, you kind of get a double luck stream coming through. So that could be very, very good news in terms of prosperity, but not just in a financial sense, prosperity and abundance in terms of creativity, emotions, energy, and joy, really. From the 21st of June to the 20th of July, though, Hare, you may find that month more difficult. This is the month of the horse, and horses and hares are pretty much opposite. They really, really challenge each other. The horse is very much to do with family and home as well, so you could find that there are some power struggles within the home. This could be small things like, for example, if you have teenage children who are kind of pushing the boundaries and wanting to do their own thing, and you're sort of wanting them to just, you know, keep in touch with you and hold it back a little bit. That's an example of the kind of dynamic within a family. Nothing too dramatic really, but just sort of maybe having to keep your course, especially if you're working very hard in your professional life. It could mean that your fuse is a little shorter in that June time, so that's just something to be aware. Your family might also want you to be focused more on them, more on the home, more on even housework, but inside you want to just focus on your professional games. So again, finding a compromise between letting everybody know where you're at, and this can all be resolved or understood hopefully through that kind of communication, not keeping to yourself about where you are in your professional life, or any fears that you're struggling with, just so that your family and friends know that you haven't just sort of gone off and left them, really, that they're coming along the journey with you, and that can keep everything a little more harmonious. Hello Dragon, and welcome to your Chinese 2020 horoscope overview. This year, you'll be happy to hear, is going to be a little more exciting, a little more, well, in fact, it's going to be a lot more exciting than it was for you last year. More travel, more adventure, that lust for life, that spiciness that you have and that you like and that you adore can come back into play. 2019, the whole year of the pig year, you may have felt that you kind of had to rein back a little bit, like you had to pull yourself in and get to the nitty-gritty of things. There could have been contracts, there could have been, you know, new things to set up, almost like you're sitting down with an instruction manual when you just really want to get in and play with the swings and the slides that you've just bought, but you've kind of had to really pull that back. So that's been a bit, that's really dampened your spark a little bit, but you'll be pleased to know that that's no longer going to be an issue for you this year. The rat really gives you that momentum back. April, May, and June are going to be particularly lucrative months for you financially. These are the snake months, and because of the 13 new moons that we have this year, instead of having the snake for only 4 weeks, you have it for 8, and for you that usually means financial success. So that's a real boost, that's a real boom. Again though, last year was asking you to rein in your spending perhaps, so try not to undo all the hard work that you've done, because it will just set you back again. But at the same time, do enjoy some of the fruits of your labour, because you worked hard for them. With this newfound energy of the year of the rat, you may really just want to get into everything. You may want to sign up for a new course, you may want to get involved in new sports or activities, go travelling, learn a language, see friends that you haven't seen for a while. This real sort of like very positive but bit of perhaps erratic energy. So a note of warning, just to have schedule in some time for rest, because you're not going to really want to rest this year. You just want to get into it, get stuff done. But if you don't schedule that time for rest, that can potentially, I'm not saying it will, but it can potentially lead to burnout. So it's just to be a little more aware of that. But all in all, Dragon, this is a really positive year for you, and you're going to be able to spread your wings and fly more than you were able to do last year. Hello Snake, and welcome to your Chinese 2020 horoscope overview. I myself am a snake, so we're talking amongst fellow snakes here. Last year for us probably wasn't the most of exciting years. In fact, it was probably one of the most difficult years for snakes last year, because pig and snake really oppose each other. But in the year where the pig really challenged, this year could see those challenges actually having a meaning to them. For example, we may have learnt things last year that we can actually implement this year. Lessons that we learnt last year means that we can have more stability this year. So really, it's kind of overcoming a bit of pain from the year of the pig, because like we've said, for you that was very much a very opposing and challenging year. But I do think that more stability can come from that this year, as long as those lessons have been learned. This year, Snake won't be as exciting as next year. Next year, the year of the ox 2021 is going to be more exciting and very lucky in terms of monetary and those more lucrative outlets. This year's kind of, again, getting the house in order before that happens. Professionally, February is going to be the best month of this year for snakes. Especially if you're self-employed or you're working on a project on your own. It doesn't mean to say that working as part of a team isn't a good idea, but those lone projects, something that you could really get your teeth into, possibly even writing, anything that is about you putting your stamp, your creativity onto something in February could be very lucrative and become more popular than you think. This year, as we said in the overview, we have 13 new moons, which means we have a month that has 2 animals associated with it, which happens to be snake. So it's kind of, snake gets 8 weeks of the year as their animal totem, basically, their animal zodiac sign. For snakes, this really means that for those 8 weeks, it is an ideal time to focus on confidence, asserting your own authority, and just speaking up and speaking out. You may feel a bit drained and a bit tired within these months, but it's important to keep going and keep pushing for what it is you believe in, and not letting the energy of the rat sort of dampen your own sparkle, so to speak. Hello horse, and welcome to your Chinese 2020 horoscope overview for this year. Last year you may have felt, for the year of the boar, the year of the pig, that you had absolutely no time to rest on your laurels. Everything's very much go, 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 go. This is because horses and pigs are generally very industrious animals, so that kind of really working hard, having to really slog for something to happen. Not that there hasn't been any luck, because you know, for all of us in our Chinese horoscope, there are elements of time that we have luck and elements of time that are more challenging. But for you particularly, it was quite a tiresome year in a lot of ways, Hawk. That pace can really be seen to slow down this year, which is good, but it doesn't mean that the momentum disappears, which is fantastic. So it means all the seeds that you sowed last year are still going to be having an ongoing effect, even if you just, you know, pull on the brakes a little bit. So that might give you a bit of time for respite this year. You could find this year challenging in some ways, horse, because rat and horse are completely opposite in terms of their views of the world, what you stand for. You may have overlapping views, of course, but generally the energy is very much like putting 2 sides of a positive battery together. It repels. And what is going to be important for you this year, horse, is to try and not change the rat too much, because it's rat's year, and therefore it's almost like, you know, if we were playing a game of top trumps, rat wins. Rat beats horse because it's rat's year. So what does this mean in our actual lives? Well, it could mean that you want to break the wheel, you want to go against the status quo and do something that you feel is right, but others might not agree. It might not be the year that you feel that your voice gets heard as much, but that doesn't mean that you should just stop and give up on those thoughts and dreams that you have. You just might have to be a little more patient. From the months April to June, because we have the 13 new moons this year, which means that we have an animal that has a double year, which a double month, which this is the snake. So instead of having 4 weeks of snake energy, we have 8. And for you, horse, this energy is really going to let you break away from the fast lane and have some more quiet and reflective moments, more meditation, more healing. Maybe you'll want to look into alternative therapies, just to give yourself some time and space back. You may also find this year, horse, that you feel challenged by people, and there are 2 ways you could take this. You could take this and be hurt by it, because sometimes it's not nice when people challenge us, especially when we have strong opinions and views on something. But what we could learn from this year, what horse could really gain, is that actually having people around us that challenge us is an amazing thing. It's like that saying goes, if you're the smartest person in the room, leave, because the people around us that challenge us help us to grow and help us to thrive. So rather than us seeing that as a negative, we could take that as a really positive sign that we can thrive, change, grow, and develop even more this year. Hello sheep, goat, and welcome to your Chinese horoscope 2020 overview. Thank you so much for joining me for this year. last year, the year of the pig, may have been a bit more playful for you and not particularly challenging in some ways. Now, this won't go for everybody who is a sheep or a goat, but a lot of sheep goat energy. Pig and sheep, kind of best of friends. They really get on. You know, they kind of like just playing and being together. So last year could have been a year where really you felt you moved with the flow a bit more. Not to say there wasn't challenges, but that it was a little maybe easier than some years have been. This means that you're probably going to want a bit of a challenge. The goat is really always up for a challenge, always up for learning new things, and so I kind of feel like you're ready for that this year. When I say challenge, I don't necessarily mean awful trials and tribulations that really break down the everything that your life's built upon. Just things that kind of tease that strength out of you and kind of let you really express your own views and opinions. A bit of opposition for growth, if you will. August and September are going to be particularly good for your professionalism, your professional status, but you may find yourself this year becoming a bit of a workaholic, and it might be something that your friends or your family find a bit difficult to deal with. It's something that you're going to be really, maybe a new interest, maybe a new career path or a project that you're working with on your own, but it's going to be something that really grabs your attention. So it's going to be important to find that balance and just keep everybody else in the loop as well, so that nobody feels neglected and also that you don't wear yourself out. From April to June, we have that double snake month because we have 13 new moons this year. Instead of having the snake for 4 weeks, we have the snake for 8. Now, the snake energy for you, goat, is very much about social networking, particularly in the professional field. So these are going to be really good months for you to just get out there, maybe get some business cards made, or if you've got some in-house training you can do at work, or just even a first aid course, something that's going to allow you to grow and develop in that way is going to be very enjoyable for you within those. But August and September are going to be the most lucrative in terms of what you get back for your hard work. So the main things to remember this year are to, yes, by all means, challenge yourself. You deserve it. You deserve to go out and feel fulfilled and feel like you're on that kind of path of learning, but please pace yourself and try not to become too much of a workaholic. But other than that, it's going to be a really fantastic year for you in many ways. Hello monkey, and welcome to your Chinese 2020 horoscope overview. Thank you so much for joining me for this new Chinese year. Rat is the year that you've been waiting for. Pig, really, the year of the pig, the year of the boar last year. It's putting a lot of emphasis on family and home. Perhaps you were caring for somebody last year, or perhaps you became a new parent, or something that was keeping you sort of tied within the four walls of your own environment. But this year, with the rat, is going to allow you to break out of that a little bit more. You may have even forgotten, you know, what it's like to socialize in some ways if last year was particularly heavy for you. But this year is going to allow you to feel more confident in being able to do. Rat wants you to have fun. The year of the rat wants you to be creative, wants you to have that lust and that passion. The only real downside to this year is that you might not feel challenged enough in some ways, because last year you may have felt super challenged and this year it kind of melts away a bit and you might not know exactly what to do with yourself. But you know, treasure it, have fun with it, every opportunity that you can, because rat really wants to encourage you to do that. Because there are 13 new moons this year, that means that we get an animal with a double month. So instead of having snake for 4 months of the year, you have snake for 8 months of the year. For you specifically, this is all about competition. Particularly within the workplace, but it could be competition within sports, competition within your friends, your family. You're going to just feel a bit more competitive. You're going to feel that you kind of want to, you know, shine and really show who you are and make things about you a bit more, because last year was so much about family, was so much about being dedicated and being very loyal and looking out for others, that this year, yeah, you want to step into your own arena. And so a bit of competition and a bit of a little bit of arrogance, even a little bit, might come out, but you know, enjoy it. You had a hard year last year, but just try and balance it so that you're not falling too far away from the thread that you were on last year as well. When we have those sudden jolts in energy, it can actually make us feel very disorientated. So just slowly, maybe gradually go from being sort of a bit of a home lover to pushing yourself out into the world. And if it's done in a gradual way, it won't be too much of a shock. But just have fun with this year, monkey. You have all the energy behind you to allow you to do that. Hello Rooster, and welcome to your Chinese New Year 2020 horoscope. If you are a Rooster, you're in good company, because Patrick is one too. This year you may find yourself having a bit more stability being threaded into your life. Last year, the year of the boar, the year of the pig, was very much about your self-expression, standing up for yourself, asserting your truth, speaking your truth. This may have got you in a bit of hot water at times, but it was really, really important that you did that. So you should be very proud of yourself for you know, taking that step out and doing that. The year of the pig forced you and pushed you to express yourself in that way, particularly around the areas of home, family, property and work. And this year is going to have a continuing sort of feel of that. The year begins with the month of the tiger, and this is why January and February can sometimes be the busiest month for roosters. This is where all your efforts are being put in. But really, because that's happened in the year of the rat, it means that any efforts that you put into January and February, you can really reap the rewards from that for the rest of the year. So if you're feeling maybe a little overwhelmed at the start of the year, please don't worry. There will be time towards the end of the year to have that respite and to celebrate everything that you've achieved. But you're just going to have to really put in the effort to begin with. This year also has that 13 new moons, which means that we have a double animal month. So instead of having 4 weeks of snake, we're going to have 8. And how this affects you, Rooster, is very interesting. Snake really allows your adventurous side to come out, your more playful side. So you may find that you want to explore more, that you may even feel you want to learn a new language. It's very much to do with travel and education. So this, particularly between April and June, Rooster, is very much going to be about either like booking a holiday, going on some sort of vacation, retreat, or even adventure holiday in some way, or really getting your teeth into something new. It's almost like you're studying, you're downloading online courses, or you're actually going to somewhere to learn something. And that's going to be really beneficial, because a lot of the emphasis last year was put on looking after perhaps other people. There was a lot of responsibilities, whereas this year you're still going to have those responsibilities, particularly around your professional life, but you're going to also be able to branch out and really enjoy some of the things that are just for you to enjoy. And there's nothing to be feeling selfish about. This is something that you really deserve. Hello dog, and welcome to your Chinese New Year 2020 horoscope overview. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through your year. So really starts off all about projects, all about literally getting things in order, files, you know, sticky notes. I don't know whether this is something to do with just specifically with writing. It could be to do with some sort of book. It could be to do with some sort of new business venture, but getting very organised at the start of the year. is going to be something that you actually really enjoy and relish in. This will be very evident between February and March when new work developments come up. So this year for a lot of people is all about, you might say the rat is like the rat race. It's a lot to do with our work and how we connect with others, and a lot of the ways we connect with each other is through our work or how we spend our day, our life, and work for a lot of people is like the majority of their day, whether they're working from home or they're working raising their children or they're working caring for somebody else or they're working in an office, whatever environment it is. But between February and March, this can be going more smoothly and might feel more rewarded from it, that it's not just such a hard slog all the time, that you're actually getting some recognition for the hard work that you put in. From April to June, we have a double snake month because there are 13 new moons this year. That means instead of getting 4 weeks of the month of the snake, we get 8. And for you, dog, this is specifically to do with money. Not career and money, not love and money, just money. So it's quite lucrative for you actually. In general though, this is a very good year for all forms of communication and expression, whether that's through dance, whether that's through writing, whatever medium. And if that kind of self-expression isn't something that you've ever explored before, it could be taking a journaling class or a creative writing class or starting a new dance group. It could be any of those things. Something that allows what's in your mind to come out through you. And that creativity is going to really give you a boost in self-confidence going forwards in lots of different ways. On the downside, you could find that there are some clashes between your romantic relationships, mostly. Could be family relationships, but romantic relationships and work. This is something that isn't just to do with your sign. A lot of signs are going to experience that this year, unfortunately. And also it depends as well what zodiac sign your partner is, and depends on how you sort of the compatibility between that as well. But there could be some clashes, but it's nothing to get worried about. It's just finding that time to give to your partner or your family, and to give to your creative needs and your creative expressions, not putting your needs second, but also not acting in a selfish way, because that's not like you anyway to do, dog, and it could make you feel bad potentially. So that's the only thing to watch out for this year, really, is that work, life, creative life balance. Hello Pig, Boar, and welcome to your Chinese New Year 2020 horoscope overview. Thank you so much for joining me. Last year was your year, the year of the pig, and really that was a year of pressing that reset button. It was a year of empowerment for you. You may have been through some things that really showed you your strengths and showed you how strong you are. This could be you could have found this through a number of ways. There could have been a relationship breakup, or you could have stood up to somebody who's been putting you down, or it could be that you finally asked for that raise at work. Whatever it was, there may have been a lot of strands last year where you found your inner voice a bit more, and you found that confidence a bit more, and that is so a wonderful thing to have come out of the year that was the pig for you. As we move into the year of the rat in this 2020, finally, we could feel that pressure just drop a little bit. Not massively, really quickly, because it was quite a heavy year in some ways last year, learning all those things about yourself, who you associate with, who you want in your life. But that pressure drop definitely does happen this year. It's also potentially a very lucrative year for you, not only in terms of money, but also in terms of your own personal values and really understanding what you're worth. So again, the year of empowerment that you went through last year, Rat is going to just keep boosting that confidence. So pretty much out of all the zodiac signs, it could be the most beneficial for you. March and April are probably going to be the most empowered in terms of your professional life and your work life. So it could be that you maybe not pushing for promotions or new jobs or anything like that, but more in that you're feeling more settled within your role, you're feeling more senior within your role, and perhaps that you have to train other people in some way, or perhaps you get a new form of responsibility in some way in your life within those months. But particularly August and September, you know, for professionalism, that drags on through those months as well. Again, a year of all of those things that you learned about yourself last year, and all the empowerment tools and techniques and skills that you learned last year being placed into this year. And people may see a real change in you, and it could be quite surprising for a lot of people, but really exciting, and a very, very wonderful turnaround for you. This year sees us have the 13 new moons, which means that we get a double animal month. So instead of having 4 weeks of the snake, this year we have 8. And that affects you more in terms of your romantic relationships. So for 8 weeks, the focus is going to be more on romance. This could be twofold. This could be focusing on romance within just putting a lot more time and energy into your partner. It could be that you're feeling more of that love come back to you. It could be that you're discussing the next steps in a relationship. If you're single, it could be that you actually meet someone within this time frame, or that an old flame could potentially come into being again. So really, for this 8 weeks, putting that emphasis on relationships isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's actually could be a really enjoyable time for you, and a time where you can have some fun, and a time where you can really get passionate and let that sort of fun side show more than the hard-working, industrious side that you have in spades, letting that romantic and flowing side of your nature come out a little bit more. Hello Rat, and welcome to your specific overview for your Chinese horoscope New Year 2020. It is your year this year, which is really fantastic news for you, because you will come into the end of your lunar cycle, which in some ways could have seen you feeling a little tired and maybe even a little run down last year, but this really is a time for new beginnings. Your focus this year, Rat, is going to be very much on your authentic self, showing the world who you are, and really speaking your truth and having that confidence to do so. From March to April, it's going to be very much a time of fun and creativity, and allowing yourself to really shine and take center stage. It's almost going to be like that is the month out of the whole year where you're really going to be able to flourish and maybe do things that you hadn't thought of doing before. You're not going to be letting people hold you back. In February to March time, it's really about your home situation. And I feel that for you, Rat, this year, it's about sort of putting your needs first and telling people what you need. If you need help around the home, or if you're, whatever that way that may be, it may mean that you have to vocalize how you feel towards your family, even your friends, and express those truths. And the key to all of this is authenticity. So there you have it. There is our Chinese horoscope 2020 overview and breakdown for all of our individual signs. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm really honoured that you've been here with me, and I hope to see you again very, very soon. If you would like to read your written version of your Chinese 2020 horoscopes, please see the link in the description box down beneath this video. I'd be so honoured if you would like and subscribe to this channel for more content and more astrological insights. But until we speak again, thank you so much for joining me, and have a really wonderful year. Alyssa.